When did your boss make a request that blew up in their face? My boss, Gerald, called a meeting right after I'd closed a $2 million deal that saved our entire quarter. He pointed at me in front of everyone and said, "You're not being a team player." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'd worked 60-hour weeks to land that deal. You keep all the best strategies to yourself. You don't share your client interactions, he continued. The deal I'd just closed came from a lead I'd been developing for 6 months on my own time. He typed furiously on his laptop while everyone watched uncomfortably. New policy effective immediately. Every team member must share all work activities, client contacts, and daily schedules with the entire team. Full transparency. No exceptions, he announced. He sent it to everyone, including HR and corporate. He looked directly at me and said, "Especially you. I want to see everything. Every email, every call, every meeting." That's when Catherine leaned over and whispered something that made my heart race. Doesn't this apply to him too? She was right. Gerald hadn't exempted himself. The email clearly said everyone, including management. I realized Gerald had just given me access to something he'd been hiding for years. Understood. Complete transparency from everyone starting now, I said. Gerald smiled, thinking he'd put me in my place. The next morning, I sent my first transparency report with 8 client calls, 2 closed deals, and my complete schedule. Then I added one line that changed everything. Waiting for Gerald's report per the new policy. The office went silent. Gerald scrambled to send something claiming 5 client meetings. Catherine replied to everyone, "Strange. I handle the Morrison account, and they're in Tokyo this week." My heart started pounding as Gerald's lie sat there exposed to 20 people. He rushed to my desk within an hour, his face red. "That was a different Morrison," he said. But when I asked which one, he walked away without answering. His next report claimed a 3-hour power lunch with a major prospect. Our receptionist replied to all of us, "No one signed in to see you yesterday." Gerald sent another email saying it was off-site but couldn't provide the prospect's name when I asked us all to share leads to avoid duplication. People started whispering behind me about why our boss was lying about meetings. Gerald heard the whispers too, because he started closing his office door, something he never did before. Then someone discovered something that made my blood boil. Gerald had been taking 20% of every deal as oversight fees, even though he never talked to clients. But his daily reports showed zero involvement in any sales. He'd stolen $50,000 in commissions this quarter from our work. Someone sent it to HR asking if this was even legal. I felt sick thinking about my unpaid bills while Gerald took money he didn't earn. The team started comparing their pay stubs openly, realizing how much Gerald had taken from each of them. Things got worse when Gerald accidentally attached his expense report instead of his call log. 5 client dinners at the same golf club on consecutive Fridays. 3 client meetings charged at a resort during what he'd reported as local visits. Hotel charges on days he'd reported working from home. We calculated $30,000 in fake expenses just from the last 6 months. Catherine sent it to corporate finance with a note asking for clarification. People started using the word fraud openly in the break room. Gerald's assistant walked past my desk and told me she was requesting an immediate transfer. The walls were closing in, and he had no idea. By the end of the week, Gerald had stopped sending reports entirely, but it was too late. Everyone had seen everything. The next morning, Gerald tried to delete the policy from the server, but I'd already sent copies to corporate with everyone's reports attached. He called me into his office, sweating through his shirt. "We need to discuss these transparency reports," he said. "You mean your reports?" I asked. His hands were shaking. "This has gone too far. I'm ending the policy immediately," he said. But HR had already responded to my email saying they were investigating. Within hours, the CEO arrived with HR and security. "Gerald, these reports show systematic theft. $80,000 stolen from this company," the CEO said. Gerald's face went completely white. He stammered, "This is a misunderstanding." The CEO continued, "You charged golf to the company. You took commissions on deals you never touched." Gerald pointed at me with shaking hands and said, "This was meant to track him, not me." I calmly showed them the original email and said, "You created the policy. No exceptions. You're on the team." The CEO's face turned dark. "You stole from your own people," he said. Gerald's legs buckled and he begged, "I'll pay it back." The CEO shook his head and said, "We're pressing charges. This is grand larceny." Security put Gerald in handcuffs and he screamed at me, "You set me up!" I said, "I just followed your transparency policy." The CEO waited until Gerald was gone, then turned to me with something like respect in his eyes.